Welcome to Teal House Farm.
Welcome. Today we are going to do some canning. It's time to make some more chili beans because it's that time of year and we're going to stock up for the winter because we go through a lot of chili beans. It's pretty darn simple. We're going to show you how we do it, make our own spice mix. We also are going to follow the guidelines when it comes to canning beans. We are not going to be quick canning them. The no-soak method is not safe for at-home canning. I know there are lots of people that do it, but we feel both the quality is better with the actual safe recipe, and obviously we don't want to take any chances with little people at home could get really sick, so we're going to follow the guidelines. Also interesting to note that pre-soaking the beans, draining them and adding new water is actually something that helps make beans more digestible. So when you skip that step, you're actually making the final product a little harder on your tummy as well. So we're going to follow the steps. Okay, so first thing we need to do is get our beans ready because we're going to soak them before we can can them. Are you ready? These are our dry beans. We're using light red kidney beans. These were $1 each at Walmart. We got 3 bags of these. I think these are 1 pound bags, yes. You can use any kind of similarly sized beans you want. I have done pinto beans, black beans. People get all up in arms about it being the wrong bean for chili beans. Hang on one second. There is no wrong bean. It's just chili flavoring on beans. So whatever kind of beans you want in your soup, that's the kind of bean you should buy. We're going to open these up. We're going to rinse them, make sure there aren't any pebbles in here, and then put them in a really large pot.
Mom, did you show them the recipe? Good. ASMR, everyone.
You need 3 cups of water for every cup of dry beans. I have done this so many times though, I just know where that line kind of is in this pot. So, but if you haven't done this a lot, just measure that out. It's okay to have extra water, you just don't want not enough water.
It's ASMR on a stove.
Okay, we're gonna bring this to a boil for 2 minutes. And then we're just gonna let it sit in the hot water for an hour. So boil 2 minutes to just turn it off and let it sit for an hour. We're gonna make the chili seasoning mix while we're waiting on those beans. This is pretty simple. This is what you need. You can screenshot this. I will also write it in the description below. And this will make enough spice for about 9 to 10 pints of beans. That's going to be a little more than 2 pounds of dry beans. Now we made 3 pounds of dry beans because I'm planning on saving some of them to use for dinner tomorrow night. So we're not canning all of them. We're just going to can between 9 and 10 pints today. And so this will be enough spice, but you might need to double it depending on how much you're making. You're going to put it on in a bowl and just give it a little mix. We have our clean jars. They're just in hot water on the clean side of the sink because you need to keep them warm so we can fill them. And we're gonna drain the water out of our beans that have been sitting in the hot water for an hour. You can even just see how much larger the beans are. These aren't even fully rehydrated. This is why dry canning or no-soak canning of beans is a problem. They need so much liquid and you have to make sure they're fully rehydrated and that there's still enough liquid in the jar for the heat to penetrate all the way to the center of the jar. We're now gonna top this off with the same amount of liquid that was in there before. We've returned the filled pot to the stove. We're going to bring to a boil. Once we hit a boil, again, then we can put them in our jars and we'll add our spices. I think we're ready now, so we're gonna get our warm jars out and put on a tray just to keep our mess in one place. Now, people will say you can fill cold jars. I do it all the time. It's actually not a safety issue as far as canning safety to fill the cold jars, but it can be tough on the lifespan of your jar. Before you fill glass with a super hot liquid, it's nice to warm your glass up first and give it a little warning on what's coming its way. So please do warm up your jars. If you don't, you could have one that cracks or explodes. You might not know even that it has some hairline fracture until you put it in the canner and it explodes there. It's just worth the little extra step to go ahead and warm those jars up before loading them. The trickiest part of loading the beans is trying to get a good ratio of beans to liquid. So one thing I try to do is scoop the beans from the bottom, drain as much liquid off the scooper as I can so that we get more beans than liquid in the jar. The beans are now fully rehydrated, or pretty darn close to fully rehydrated. So I'm going for about 3/4 beans and then topping off the last quarter of the jar with liquid, and that will be plenty because, again, unlike the no soak method, I don't have to worry about how much liquid these beans are going to need in order to fully rehydrate because we're already there. You do need 1-inch headspace, and sometimes I do overfill a little bit and then I kind of have to tip it out of the jar later. Once we have all the jars topped off with our liquid, we can go ahead and add our spice that we made. For the pints, you want to do 2 teaspoons of spice, and so if you're going to do quart jars here, you would add 4 teaspoons. To make my life a little bit easier, I just call a heaping 1/2 tablespoon 2 teaspoons. It doesn't have to be exact. This isn't for safety, this is for taste. And you can actually, fun fact, choose a different spice recipe. I've made Italian beans before. You could make taco flavored beans. The spices won't really affect the safety of the final product. It's just how you want them flavored. Once you get those all topped off with your spice, you're going to go ahead and wipe the rims, because I'm sure if you're like me, you've splashed a little bit on the rims of the jar and that could impact the seal rate. So by getting a clean paper towel or cloth with a little bit of water on it and just wiping the rims, we're going to go ahead and make sure those rims are nice and clean for our lids. Today we're going to use some anchor lids. These are actually new ones for me. So far they seem to be working pretty well. I'm usually a ball lid girl through and through. They never do me wrong, but these were on sale at Tractor Supply, and so I thought, why not? And so far my seal rates have been good, so I am liking them. They have a nice weight to them, but they're not like those superb lids that are so heavy. Sometimes I feel like they're too heavy for the vacuum in the jar and they don't get a good seal rate. Once you've got your canner loaded, you need to get a nice steam chimney coming out of it. Once you do that, you can go ahead and drop your weight or regulator on. We're going to need 11 pounds pressure for 75 minutes for the pints or 90 minutes for the quarts. Leave them on your counter to cool for 24 hours, then remove the rings for storage. Make sure you label your jars because chili beans look just like all other kinds of beans and you don't want to be surprised. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you again really soon.